Thank you for watching. My name is Glenn Morgan. This is We the Governed, and this is part 3 in our interview with Brian Heywood of Let's Go Washington. And Brian, again, thank you so much for taking the time
My
and
pleasure.
let me come in here in your barn and do this interview. And it's always good to talk about successes. And so why don't we pick up where we left off, and let's talk about your plans moving forward here with Let's Go Washington this year, because getting them to the legislature, that was these initiatives, the first step of the process. And let's talk about what you see the next couple steps being.
As of right now, it looks like, well, they've put 3 of the 6 have gone to committee, and the committees have then voted them out of committee back onto the floor. And so we understand they're going to be holding a vote on each of the 3 within the next week, maybe as early as Monday. And it seems unlikely from everything that I've heard that they would actually let those go to the floor for a vote if they were going to vote them down.
Right.
So as of right now, it appears like we may have 3 that we can celebrate as early as next week that have been successful.
And that's a clear victory. I mean,
That's
there's
huge.
no doubt.
Yeah. I think it demonstrates that these were common sense initiatives from the very beginning. So much I want a stamp that's going to be like Democrat approved, Democrat approved, Democrat approved, right? They were common sense, so much so that they had to pass them. And so that's going to hopefully, and if they don't, if they go and they vote against them, if there's some sort of last minute shenanigan and it doesn't go through, then we've got all 6 will be on the ballot this coming November. I think the fact that we got hearings, they should have held hearings on all 6, but the fact that we got hearings is an enormous win for the people of Washington State. Their voices were heard. This became the topic of discussion. The fact that the initiatives existed was admitted several times for the reason that some really stupid bills got killed.
Yep.
One of them being the tripling the rate of increase for the property tax.
Yep.
Specifically, they mentioned the initiatives as one of the reasons why not. And so this is a huge win. And perhaps people of Washington are not used to winning. You sort of hold your breath until until Olympia is done, and then count your, where did we get shot? Where are the bullet holes?
Right.
And this time, actually, we're able to patch a couple of things and fix a couple of things.
Right.
And not just little things. The police pursuit will have
huge deal,
enormous right away.
Right.
And the no income tax both limits the cities and the counties, but also puts a very clear stamp that the Democrats have supported this. And I think it makes these all sort of challenge-proof in a way as well. The legislature voted to put these into place.
Right.
You can't play any Supreme Court shenanigans and try to sue your way out. And then, of course, parental notification had so much support from parents who are just tired of being ignored.
Right.
So those 3 hopefully will be passed and will go into law here very shortly, and that'll have an immediate effect on public safety. And then the next 3, well, then we're going to be into an old-fashioned campaign.
Right.
But when I say old-fashioned, I don't think we're going to go at it in an old-fashioned way, right? We came at the initiatives themselves and the signature gathering in a new way that significantly changed the dynamics of how much it costs to get them qualified. And we've been working on some ideas on how to best get this message out so that people hear it and understand it. And I suspect that we're going to be significantly outgunned when it comes to money.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they'll spend it wisely, but I wouldn't be surprised if they throw $30 million at trying to get the Climate Commitment Act protected, because it's a huge grift to a lot of people. So there's a lot of people with money on the line that'll want to support that.
Right.
And then the other one, the Long-Term Care Act, is a giant giveaway to SEIU.
Oh yeah, that'll be.
And they've already thrown money at us. Not to mention their free trip to Disney World in Florida, right? If you quit collecting signatures, I was thinking I should have sent a bunch of out of work people down to go collect the $4,000 trip to Florida. That would have been. We could have gone and got some homeless people to
Right.
send them to a warm spot, right? And
Yeah,
it would have been doing them a good for the wintertime. So we've got a campaign that started. And so we have to do a couple of things. We're putting together a team specifically for the campaign. We've got some really good people that are on this, and I'm much more politically mature than I would have been 2 years ago when we were trying to do the other one, just because we've learned so much, and I've got some trusted people in. We will be fundraising. I'm told people I've put my tithe in, or more than my tithe, right, in doing this, and I'm not putting any more money into the campaign itself. We need everyday average people to step up. Your safety is going to get better. Your income is going to be protected. Hopefully we can protect your gas tank from the invasion of the cap and trade grift. But we need you to step up, and so that means when you can. And I know there's a lot of people who can't afford it because they can't afford their gas anymore. So right. I'm not asking for anybody that's in a hurting position, but if you've got some, we'd ask them to contribute. We're going to ask a lot of the bigger donors in the state who have a lot to gain by keeping the state where they can continue to live rather than making it their vacation home. Right. We're asked them to step up, and then I think this has national underpinnings in it, because one of the interesting things about Washington State, if you go back and look, is that we have been a 5-year harbinger on what's going to happen to the rest of the United States. Right. And there's this populist, a very successful populist movement back against an out-of-step radical progressive agenda. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of states that are going to be watching what happens, especially with cap and trade. Right. And I think that when it's purely a grift just to make money for a retirement plan for the governor and his buddies, there should be pushback. This is not something that actually fixes any environmental problem. It just gives money to groups that want to pat themselves on the back.
And conveniently kick campaign contributions.
Yeah. How convenient will that be? It just ensures a single party majority for a never-ending period of time. And they've basically revealed it a couple of times. They haven't talked about what it's going to do for the environment. They're talking all about how it's going to hurt the budget, which has already been in surplus. Right. So we'll probably have a very well-funded attack against us, but we're going to be figuring out ways to be kind of the American troops in the war with the British, right? We'll be hiding in the trees and hiding in the bushes and coming out against this better funded and sometimes better organized group. But I think we'll bring the American spirit to it, and we'll let them do their British group marching in group and see how that turns out. Right?
Guerrilla war of political campaigning.
That's right. That's right.
And I anticipate that this is going to be, since these are the first things on the ballot in November.
Yes.
So they'll be the number one issues in November that people will be voting on. I think this is going to have some impact on turnout as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure you probably heard some of the same thoughts process on that.
Well, and I think when they split the two groups, right? They did one group and the other group. I think part of their political analysis was, by doing it this way, we may discourage some of those otherwise fervent, maybe we'll discourage parents from coming out or the public safety crowd from coming out. But I think far from it. I think people are going to be energized. I think it's a miscalculation on their part. Right. I think people have had a taste of winning and fighting back against the man, fighting back against Olympia, fighting back against district,
machine.
The capital district, in the Hunger Games almost. And I think people are very motivated. And in fact, what's been interesting is that the sort of donor class group I don't think they were necessarily in belief that this could happen. And so there was mild support. And now that it's happened, they're almost giddy. In the same way that I hear from the volunteer group, right? The ones that put a lot
of time in.
Yeah, the grassroots volunteers who spend a lot of time doing it. They're ecstatic and motivated, and this is a win for a lot of people, and that makes me incredibly grateful. I just to watch people be motivated to be in the political process, and I think that's the mistake that the other has made, and it's our hope to catalyze on that. People that don't know about it, then we'll be asking people to tell their neighbor, right? And it's an easy thing. It's not in the hot button issues of society.
Well, and the messages aren't. I mean, it's vote yes on all three, right?
Right,
Or
that's
you
right.
know,
Yeah,
if they don't pass these three, it'd be vote yes on all six. But
That somebody suggested we have gang signs. It was like 3 and 3, baby.
yeah, vote for three. Yeah,
Vote
but
for
I mean
all three.
that's not. Yeah, that'll be. I imagine a relatively simple
I
campaign.
think so, and even I think one of the things if we address the elephant in the room, that'll be the capital gains, because the left is quite convinced that this is a class issue, that they can separate Washingtonians. That again, it's the "you people are stupid" kind of mentality.
Right.
They think people are so dumb that they'll go, "Oh yeah, capital gains doesn't impact me; it only attacks those rich people." But it's really easy to see already. Jeff Bezos left the state. And so then they say, well, it's only 3,000 people. Yeah, it's only 3,000 people, but you don't know how many people already left not paying it, and you don't know how many people are going to leave in the next little wave. And one of the dangers to the economy here, very real danger, is that you get all of these entrepreneurs who either don't come into the state or who leave the state, and you're not going to really see the impact for about 5 to 10 years.
Right.
But then when it happens, you don't get it all back suddenly. It takes another 5 to 10 years for it to come back. And we created about 90,000 plus new companies in 2021. That's the last time I've seen data. There may be some more updated stuff. But 90,000 new companies were created in the state. Why? On our own website, in our own Washington state website, come to Washington, leave those other states. Why? Because it's a beautiful place, we have no income tax, and we've got no capital gains tax. On our state website, it said that. Now they've kind of quietly scrubbed. It's the dogs in Animal Farm, scraping off words that aren't relevant anymore.
Right.
But there's this promise to all these people who have come to this state and started a business that we're not going to charge you on this, right? And then, okay, so that's one part of it is, well, this is only rich people. And then the second part is, oh, this is going to hurt school children. That's the big one that they're trying to throw at me. And I've been looking at the budget. I just spent this morning with some budget experts on education budget and really making sure that I understand the ins and outs of this. And I keep going back to, we've had a $19,000 budget surplus over the last 5 years. Billion, sorry.
Yep.
Secondly, the money that they're saying we're going to lose for education, we are constitutionally obligated to spend that money on those things in education. We're constitutionally obligated. So if it doesn't come from, and it wasn't coming from the capital gains tax before, and we paid for those things, they just want to pay with other things and they'll put this money in. It's because they want to get other goodies. Hey,
supplanting. I mean, it's essentially
completely.
And they've done this now for years. It was the lottery. It was marijuana. Yes. It was a pot tax. It was the increased property tax. They've been doing this now, the same game over and over again. And I think they just presume that people are dumb enough to
stupid. It's
keep
the
falling
theme,
for it again.
People are stupid.
Right.
They may have PAS is like a sign in their thing, right?
Yeah.
You can get away with anything because people are stupid, and people are not.
Right.
And I think that's the advantage that we have is they have to continue to convince people that they're stupid.
Right.
And we have to say, we trust you and we believe in you. And
the people leading this program over here might be, but the average person out here isn't.
They're not.
Yeah.
And they see, Americans have always been fans of the capitalist economy, and we've got a lot of welfare in our state to take care of people that are at the margins. So it's not like we're doing some sort of barren earth, scorched earth campaign. This is let's continue to create the prosperity by inviting the small business owners and the entrepreneurs and the people that go around the whole ecosystem of Amazon and Microsoft. Let's keep inviting them into the state and keep encouraging them to create new businesses and new products and new services.
Well, and make it so you can still afford to live here.
And make it so you can still afford to live here.
Right.
That's exactly right. Because if those people stop coming and the jobs become scarce and wages don't keep following where they've been, you could be priced out of the market. Right. There might just not be enough jobs anymore because we've got people to work, but those entrepreneurs decided, I'm going to go somewhere else, Nevada or Texas or Florida or wherever. That's a legitimate real risk here. And so the politics of envy that they're playing, and that's what okay, pull out this, here's our well-worn cassette tape, politics of it. Maybe it's even an 8-track, I think it's right? It's older than that. It might even be reel to reel because it's been around a long time. politics of envy. We want to get people to feel like these guys are terrible. And I, you can see the trolls in the newspaper always, rich bastards. And
right, attack Brian Heywood, right?
Yeah,
it's always that way.
And fine, attack me. I'm happy to take the attack. But I'm not going to personally benefit from this capital gains tax. Not for I got to make $100 million to do it. If I do, that would be great. But I don't see that happening. So this isn't me trying to get myself more wealthy or my rich friends wealthy.
But you will save gas tax.
Yeah, I will. That's true. I might save. Maybe I'll save $500, $600,
Yeah.
$700, $800 a year on the gas.
Yeah.
But I think look at. They've updated the wall of shame wall.
Oh yeah.
Right? I'm number one, enemy number one. Right. But this is Nick Hanauer paying for a website to try to shame people that are opposed to the capital gains tax. And who is he? He made his $600 million or $1 billion in profit from stuff largely because he won the birth lottery.
Right.
And made a bunch of money. And now he's like, I got mine. I don't want anybody else to get theirs.
Right.
Back off and let the dreamers come to Washington State and make their business. And if they're successful, when you're starting up a small business, you don't have a 401k plan. Your 401k plan is your capital gains. Right. When you retire and you sell that business, that's your retirement plan. Right. No, we know that we lured you here with that promise. All of you, hundreds of thousands of businesses that we lured here with that promise, but no, sorry, we're going to rip that away. We're going to start charging you on your capital gains.
Well, Brian, I think just speaking on behalf of my listeners, I know because I hear from them all the time, they're excited to vote in November. They're excited to see the successes that Let's Go Washington's had so far. I repeatedly get comments on my channel all the time that say that people want to thank you for what you've done to get us to this point.
I'm grateful to them. Your listeners and people all across the state have been a really critical part of this being successful.
Well, they'll like to hear that, and but with that, I know we're coming to the end of this. Thank you so much for taking the time today, for letting me come by in the barn and interview you, and looking forward to hopefully having a really fun interview after November and a successful election at that point in time. So with that, I'm going to close this interview up with Brian Heywood. If you have any comments, feel free to leave those down below and I'll get back to you. I'll provide a lot of information in the video description down below if you want to know more about the initiatives or the elections that are coming up or how to go to Let's Go Washington website. And with that, Brian, thank you so much. And remember, the future belongs to those who show up, and here's somebody who definitely showed up. Thank you so much for watching.